Hello, I am Quinny. Welcome to the channel, guys. Today is my wedding day, so if you're watching this, thank you very much for tuning into the channel. I have programmed this video to go live at 2 o'clock, which is when the ceremony starts. So if you're watching this between the hours of 2 and 3, I suppose, wish me well on my nuptials and all the rest of it. But we've got a really special video for you today, guys. I wanted to keep this for some sort of special occasion, and I think me being away getting married is just as good as any. But we have finally reconfigured and redeveloped the QV. Now, some of you at home who are relatively new to the channel will probably be sitting there thinking, what the fuck is the QV and why should I care about it? What the QV is, it stands for Quinn value. Okay, so back in the football index days when the channel started, I developed this kind of little scoring system to help new people try and evaluate trades and buys and all that kind of stuff. And it's long been on the drawing board for me to reappropriate it for SoRare uses. I've been working on it especially over the last 2 weeks or so. I think it's pretty well rounded, pretty robust. As always, guys, even with the first iteration of the QV on Planet Index, Football Index, I am always open to suggestion and any notes you might make to improve it or amend it. Drop them in the comment section down below and let me know, and I can do that as and when. Also, in the comment section down below will be a little link so you can go and view the sheet that I'm about to walk you through as well, and from there you can copy and paste it and do whatever you like with it, kind of thing. And again, equally, if you want to take it offline and edit it yourself and appropriate it a bit more to your specific situation, or try and narrow in a little bit more of the criteria, then by all means feel free to do so and let me know what it is you do with it. But without any further ado, guys, let's get stuck in to the QV we've got now. Now at this stage, guys, I will reiterate again, this is a scoring matrix mechanism to help you evaluate decision making, you know. So when you're weighing up maybe 2 or 3 different cards, it's a great little exercise to try and remove bias and look at everything from a clean slate of just pure, like, where is this card really? Where is that card really? What's the difference in price? Is the premium worth it or not? All that kind of stuff, okay? So I'll walk you through the points bit by bit. It shouldn't really be a long video. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll kind of explain the makeup of it, okay? So, number 1, the player is aged U30, U28, U28, U25, U23, U21 as of the 1st of July next year. And as you can see, the points correlate 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10 towards the age. So obviously, if you're under 30, and that's the category you're picking, so that with everything that's here, it's 30 or 29 really, they get 4 points. If they're U28, they get 6 points. And if they're U25, they get 7 points, etc, etc. That's the way it's kind of been ordered in. If they're over 30, then I don't think they get any score for a QV kind of perspective, because most of the guys over 30, the age is actually a deterrent rather than a positive factor. Number 2, low supply, super rare and above, rare or limited. Okay, so if it's a low supply super rare, we're getting 8 points. If it's a low supply rare, 6 points. And for limiteds, that's any. So there's no such thing now as a low supply limit card at the moment. And we throw the plus 2 points in if the card we're talking about is also a true rookie. And the definition of that, I'll leave in your capable hands. Point number 3 is SO5 eligible the first 3, 6, 9 or 12 months from purchase, and then we've got a kind of downward slope on the points for that as a result. So how quickly can you use them? Can you get them active right away? If they just went off season, are you waiting for the season to turn around? Are they in a non-scored league on loan or something? You're waiting for them to go back to the parent club, etc, etc. Number 4, and then this is based on regions. Now, I've also not just did it by region, but I've also broke it down into like geographies and whatnot. So we've got Champ Euro is the 10. You get 10 points for that. Challenger, you get 9 points. South America, I've put 8. Now, the reason I've differentiated between North and South America is because South Americans really can transfer anywhere in the world. And if you're picking up a guy, Atletico Mineiro, one of the Argentinian teams, whatever, there's a good chance they could move to Champion Europe, the lower reaches of the Serie A or the La Liga, something like that. And that could be a nice backdoor entry into Europe. So with the South Americans, I would prize them 2 points. I think I've got them. Champ, Challenger, South and North, so the 4th one. I've got them 1 point better off than the North American counterparts, because the North Americans now, in particular the MLS more so than Liga MX. A lot more of them are transversing. There's another word I'm looking for. It's not transfer. Transversing the Atlantic, and they're going into Europe. Asia is the lowest score with 5 points there. We get 3 points if it's a blue cross, so that's like a Shakhtar Donetsk situation. And a red cross we get 0 points for, so there's no way they're getting scored for anything. If you're unfamiliar with the blue and the red crosses on SoRare, the blue cross means you're going to get them for continental competition, and the red cross means they're not in any competition this season or at the moment where you can make SO5 use of them. The next point, number 5 here, is they're a national team player, and that's a stone cold as either yes or no, you know. Not that, they were in one squad, you know, it has to be they are in the team, you know, they are a national team player. They will be doing qualifications, they will be going to tournaments, all that kind of stuff. Number 6, they will play continental competition. Now, you can look at this for this year or next year. I'm quite open to you appropriating that as you see fit, depending on the scope you're using with the buy. If it's a long-term buy and you're thinking, oh, next season, you know, like, I'm trying to think of an example other than Arsenal, but it's just the most obvious one. Arsenal are not in Europe, but next season, there's a good chance they will be. So if you're thinking longer ahead, maybe that kind of Arsenal type situation, maybe when you reappropriate the timescale on that. Now, number 7, I really can't stress this enough, has a real world commercial presence of some description, okay? When we're talking about collectorship and, you know, cards are collectible, all that kind of stuff, like, you really do need to take your SoRare specs off, your SoRare tinted glasses off, and think, you know, if it is like 8 years down the road, we get this game and you're hanging on to this guy and you want to sell him as a collector's item, they really do need to have some kind of real world commercial presence, whether it is in their domestic territory, whether it just be in East Asia or Belgium or Germany, America, wherever, you know. So they need to have something going for them where it's not just like, oh, it's his first ever card and he's just a run-of-the-mill guy, he's never won anything, he's not in the national team, that kind of stuff. So number 7, especially if you're thinking about collector's cards, a real world commercial presence of some description definitely has to be there. Otherwise, it's not a collectible that you can easily hold out to the world in 8 years, 10 years, 12 years time from now, whatever. A future transfer to Champ Euro is likely, and again, that's open to conjecture, because as much as you can say, like, Eo Tanaka should have maybe moved into Champ Euro or something like that, he moved to second Bundesliga, which I suppose might be a long way for a shortcut. But so you're kind of weighing that up likely. I'd say the cards that have the most candidacy for that point number 8 is your South American based players, your North American based players, and your Challenger Euro based players versus maybe the Asian region. So again, that's something that is open to a bit of conjecture, and I'm hoping if you're ticking that box is, yeah, that is likely, you've maybe seen some links in the last transfer window and this transfer window that stands up to you given those points, you know. Number 9, the card has unique merit, okay? So maybe it's a signed card, maybe it's one of these one-off editions, you know, that you get from the old Special Weekly or the Champion editions, or it might just be a low print, you know, just run-of-the-mill, the guy only got 4 cards ever. Something like that. So they have some sort of unique merit. Is it a typing error? Is it a funny picture? Is it the wrong age? Is it, you know, some sort of unique merit? Then that definitely gives you points. No two ways about it. And number 10 is probably the easiest one I brought in from the Football Index iteration of this into this one, and that is you've tracked the price in the market movement and you've found an enticing entry point. Okay, because what you can do with a mechanism like the QV that I've just laid out for you here is run this across the whole marketplace, and you'll find somebody, oh, this guy scores 88, oh, he's fucking brilliant, never heard of him 2 minutes ago, let's fucking buy him, do it. But if you've not got the price data, you've not been scouting it, you've not been feeling it, you've not been sending me cheeky offers, trying to get a gauge on the holdership, how high is that value, how stable is that high value that they've got, whatever, then you can't make any real informed decisions. Price tracking and market data it should not be undervalued at this point, okay? Now, the last portion of the video, just below what I've showed you there, I've broken it into categories depending on the score that you get, and it's a little bit of kind of advice or an outline of what kind of card, what kind of player you're going to be looking at for that score. And again, this is probably the section I'm most open to suggestion and revision on, really. So let's go through that and see what you think, okay? So if they get 25 points and below, can you see all of that here? I think 2 seconds, I'm just going to move the screen a wee bit. There we go. So 25 and below. This player is very speculative and should offer either some collectorship or you're buying in anticipation of the current circumstances changing. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. They're getting fuck all points. You know, they're over 30. They're not in the national team. They're not all blah 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 blah. Then why are you buying them? Is it like a Mikel Lustig is probably somebody I was trying to think about examples. I would buy a Mikel Lustig for like a crumb of an ETH, and he would definitely be like below 25 points. But that collectorship is the only thing I would buy him for. You know, I wouldn't be buying him for SO5. And equally, you might find somebody else like maybe who scores that kind of level, who is in a non-scored league, might move back into a scored league, that kind of thing. So 25 and below, tread with caution, and really, is it a purchase you need to be making? It's something you should be asking yourself. 25 to 50. This player should have its points grouped around one facet of the game, either SO5 playability or around the collectorship, and should be bought at the best entry level possible. If the points are fairly evenly distributed throughout the chart, then an alternative choice is recommended to firm up the strength of strategy in line with the player. So I mean by that, if you're getting a guy that scores 50 points, and the 50 points are accrued from a lot of different categories, some of these categories are on scarcity in terms of, you know, the supply limits, as well as their SO5 profile. So if you're finding that the points are kind of coming a wee bit from here, a wee bit from there, whatever, it's a kind of iffy purchase, and it's something that I would definitely recommend you seek alternatives for comparison to see if you can find somebody better in that kind of mold and in that price bracket, whatever it is. And if they are all grouped together, like it is all grouped towards he's young and got a lot of potential, or he's, you know, middle of his career as a national team player, but you know, there's nothing unique about the card and, you know, all the rest of it, then that could be a solid enough purchase. 50 to 80. This should be a prized asset, and entry point will be key. Cards of this caliber should be cross-referenced with alternatives in the same score banding to accurately assess the feasibility in order to maximise your expected output. So if you're finding the guys between 50 and 80, they will probably be a good card quite easily. You know, it's not really rocket science here at this point. But before you dive in, what other guys are scoring 75 to 80, whatever the score is you've got for the player in question, that tick the same boxes to the same extent? Is there one that's the exact same score, offers everything the exact same, but is like a third of the price? Maybe that's something to consider. And equally, like I said at the top there, the entry point is key, because finding a guy that will score 80 points on this metric on the market will be very, very easy. You can just go to the top 5 leagues and look at their best young players, and you'll get guys that get into that 75 plus category, no problem at all. But what price are you paying for them? What is the price attached to? Is it the glitz and the glamour of the club and the player, or whatever? What is it you're looking for? Is it collectability? Is it SO5 utility? So comparisons, just to give you that kind of sobering reality of, well, Jesus, man, this guy's 1.2. I know he's scoring 80, but this other guy scored 75 on the QV, and his price on the market is 0.7. You know, so is this a guy worth around double this other guy? I know it's not quite double the examples I've given you there in the numbers, but you accept the point, I'm sure. And then 80 plus. This is a crown jewel acquisition and shouldn't be done on impulse. Patience is key, and in most cases, cheaper, almost as good options should only be considered once all avenues of acquisition are exhausted. So if you're guys that are shooting 80 plus, again, there won't be many cards that hit all that criteria, but sometimes the holders will be quite stubborn on price, or they're just not letting go of them. So going for those alternative options is maybe number 2 in your wish list, or number 3. I would only do that once you've exhausted all possibilities. And if you've been on the channel for a while, I don't need to tell you about some of the examples I've had where I've went for the crown jewel player, just missed out on him because maybe a few days beforehand I bought this guy's almost as good, and then you've lost that money, you've spent that money. Maybe the opportunity comes back to get this crown jewel piece, and your wallet's empty. You've spent your wallet on the backup goalkeepers and on that youth prospect in America, and you know that's super rare that doesn't play, that kind of thing. So with those guys that hit 80 plus that you're really looking to buy, I really can't stress this enough, guy. Patience is a virtue. It is key, especially this time of the year. This is 24th of August. We're recording. It's Monday morning or Monday afternoon, and we're about to get a lot more reissues of the Champion Euro contingent, and I suspect Champion Euro cards are going to be the majority of ones that would shoot 80 pluses. So maybe it's waiting for that new season issue. Does it need to be last season's issue? Yes or no? It's up to you. Depends on the situation. No, it doesn't. Just bide your time. Sit on your money. Wait for the card you want to come around. It will come around. Be patient and strike when you can. Guys, I've had a lot of fun putting this together. I hope you've enjoyed the video today. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the videos with the Daily this week. There's a lot more to come out. I think there's about 6 videos or so this week. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
It's the power.